what's up everybody, Holding Addis with you here, bringing you Black Clover anime review. This is episode 83, titled Burn This Into You. This was a really good episode. It could have been better, but like I stated in my last review, which was more of a rant, Perriat is doing a bad job managing this anime and its style, and as much as Shiny and Jump are trying to push this to be like their big dog, giving it to Studio Perriat was a very bad business decision, and I want to know who's in charge of that decision, because that person deserves to be fired. Like, you've seen what they do in Naruto, you've seen what they did at Bleach, and especially Tokyo Ghoul, which all three is part of Shueisha, same as Black Clover, so why would you allow them to take this? If this is something that y'all really pushing to be a next big thing, and you're trying to push it to be equal to One Piece and all that, and up there with Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and, the big dogs, then why give it to them? Y'all could have given it to another studio. You could have given it to Bones, the same people who do My Hero Academia. You could have given it to Madhouse, people who did Hunter x Hunter. You could have gave it to A1 Pictures, my favorite studio. You could have even gave it to Ufotable. Y'all gave them Demon Slayer, and look how beautiful that is. So that's my one takeaway of the episode, because in the beginning, it's like we had like this whole 2-minute recap. Then we had a minute and a half of the opening on top of that, and it took up like a good 4 or 5 minutes just to get into the meat and potatoes of the episode. But once we got in there, it was pretty good. It was nice seeing Zerk's main skill, which is body seal magic, and he has like these really high level seals on his body that when anything touches him, this magic, it automatically get repelled with 10 times the force and power, and that's basically his trump card. But it was stated by the Wizard King and his right hand man Marcus that this is very, very taxing on the body and extremely dangerous because it drains the user of so much mana. They can possibly die if they continue to do this. So I'm not sure if that's red flags for Zerks in the future, or I'm sorry, Zora in the future. But he did state that his real name is Zora. So even though we already knew, the viewers, that he's lying, his name's not Zerks, but the fight between Asta and Finral's younger brother, Langris, was a very short fight. It was more of them just screaming at each other and telling each other off, and Asta had this one beautiful speech that everyone was touched by it except Langris, and the speech was something like, I'm gonna paraphrase here because I ain't write the whole speech down in my notes, but he was like, you do have insane magic as a noble, and more powerful, beautiful magic than any other noble I've seen so far. And I've always looked up to your nobles because of that. And that's the reason why we peasants try our hardest to get stronger so we can fight with you. And he's like, when it comes to you though, I just don't like you because you're a jerk. And Langris wasn't touched by this speech, but we saw like everyone else's expression, the Wizard King, the King himself, the other nobles that are there, and royalties, and the other participants, and they were all shocked. And the battle ended quickly. Sadly, it was a draw, so both teams were eliminated. When Asta had touched him with his sword, he couldn't use his magic no more. But once Asta slams him into his crystal, he was able to use magic, and he damaged Asta's crystal at the same time, supposedly. Which, that makes no sense. I don't know how is it a draw. That made no sense to have it in the manga. It's like, if he couldn't use his magic with Asta's sword, he was in Black Asta mode. So he didn't have to like cut you or whatever. He can just touch you and it's a stronger effect. So if he couldn't use his magic when Asta slammed him into his crystal, so Asta can win, how was he able to attack Asta's crystal and this becomes a draw? That kind of made no sense to me. Again, even in the manga, the way they explained it, even though they did a better job explaining it in the anime, it was like, it still didn't really make sense. Because it was like, okay, but he was touching Asta's sword. He couldn't use magic. He even stated he couldn't use magic. That's why he couldn't defend himself. Yet, he had enough power to be able to destroy Asta's crystal. And what really get me upset is that, even though Zerks was down because of his body magic taxing him, you had Mimosa that was still there full of magic. She could have defended against that. So it was like, either or. Just I feel like this was more of an ass pull to get rid of Asta, because it did state that after him using this one technique, his body was going to be taxed and he wouldn't be able to use it no more, which would eventually lead to his loss. So it's kind of a good thing that they made it a draw so he wouldn't lose. And it's better to go out in a draw than a lose, but at the same time, he's just kind of irking. But he did get a big win over Fenrir's brother, Langris, so that was a good thing. We have Zerx taking shots at everybody, and he's pointing at everybody's flaws, every Mimosa and Asta. But then he does something in the end that's very unique and shows character development and growth. And he starts taking shots at himself, and he was like, maybe I should start trusting my team more. And he just looks up into the sunlight as the sun is, arising, as you see in one of my thumbnail pics, which that was pretty cool. And as you see in my other thumbnail pic, you have everybody running up to Asta, and you have Magna catching him and hugging him, and everyone else in the Black Bulls is there, and every other people that are not from the Black Bulls or from Asta's friends group are all there. We see Leon and his group, Leo, we see Clerks and his group, we see all the other mages there, the ones that won in the past and the other ones. Even the Aqua Deer captain is in that pick. So it was nice to see everyone showing love and respect to Asta. This nobody present with no magic was able to affect all these people, so that was really great. That's one of the best moments, in my opinion, of the episode. But then after that, we get more fights. We get Luck versus Captain Vale of the Aqua Deer team. That battle was very quick. Luck decided to copy from what those other three guys did a couple episodes back, when they combined all their magic into like a magic arrow, and they shot it at high speed. Well, Luck copied that, and he made, with the other two people's magic, the Angel Chick magic and Clux, who has metal magic, he made like a metal beam, and he put an arrow on it. It's made of electricity, and he intensified it and shot it. And if it would have been any other team, he could have probably hit the crystal with perfect accuracy and would have won. But since Vale was a captain level and he's on the team, he basically made a painting of Zeus. And this painting of Zeus grabbed the thunderbolt, spun, and he threw it back. Kind of like how Meliodas did in episode, I believe it was 2 or 3. If you remember when Gale Thunder took the lightning spear and he threw it, and Meliodas caught it and he spun it around and he threw it back. It was kind of like remnants of that. I'm not sure if they got that idea or scene from that episode, but it was pretty nice to see. But yeah, instead of them one-shotting Vale's crystal, he ended up turning it around, and he ended up copying something from Zora, and he ended up using his magic to grab it, reflect it, and destroy that crystal. Then we get the next match, which is Yuno's team versus P team or M team, whatever team it was. There was nobody special on that team. Yuno actually just went up there and one-shotted all of them and destroyed their crystal with ease. But they didn't get to show us what he did, and it was off-screen, but a lot of the characters was like, what is this intense power and what did you just do? So now we're going to move into the final battle, which is Yuno's team, which is Yuno, Noel, and that dude with the mushroom power, which I always forget his name, versus Vale's team. That's going to be the final battle for this tournament, which should be next week if we don't get no more filler episodes. But that was the end of the episode. Again, great episodes. The annoying part and the only bad part was the beginning. Like all this 2-minute dialogue, then the minute and a half opening. And the opening, they need to really shorten that because it's getting kind of annoying. Them emphasizing the same thing about that demon over and over again. We're already 83 episodes in. We don't really need that demon story no more. We know it already. So it's kind of pointless to always bring it up, then give us the opening on top of that. It just takes up too much time. That's one thing about the Black Clover anime I'm really not liking, is that we keep getting that opening over and over again. Then we get that, which is a couple of seconds, plus the minute and a half opening on top of that, and it's like, that's almost 2 minutes gone out of a 24 episode. Not to mention all the in-between breaks and the previews and stuff like that. So it's like, but again, it is what it is. We can't change it. I know a lot of us are wishing that another studio would have took it, but it is what it is. We just gotta hope for the best and give our complaints to Studio specifically on their webpage, and hope they accept it and start changing. But again, it is what it is. But this was a great episode. I can't wait to see next episode what Yuno does, and hopefully they show us his power that he was using in that one scene, which they didn't show us. This will also show, since he's going against a captain level person, this would technically give you how powerful Yuno is going to be at. Is he captain level? Is he sub-captain level? Second seed? Third seed? Like, where's his level at? So, but then on the other hand, the captain he's fighting is the youngest / weakest captain. So, even if he does beat him, it doesn't necessarily mean that he is captain level. Like Yami and Melionia, Figolion, Nazel. So, Vigilance, doesn't really mean he's on their level per se, even if he does beat this young captain. So just keep that in mind. But it does tell us where he's at least. So, but that's all I have for you guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe, share with your family and friends. Give this video a like. Follow me on Twitter. Link be down below. But that's all I have for you guys. Peace out. Have a good one.